Chang Hongchen. So Zhang Hongjian is from Yangpyeong County. He's 18 years old. He's famous for his wonderland. Zhao was so greedy and cruel in Lulong County at that time that the people were squeezed and screamed for days. A show talent surnamed Fan was beaten to death by Zhao County's order. And the show talent of the whole county was furious at Fan Sheng's death. They went to the Zhenfuya gate of the province to complain about Fan Sheng's grievance. To ask Zhang Hongjian to draft a briefcase, and asked him to go to the province together. Mr. Zhang agreed to their demands. Zhang's wife, Fang Shi, is very beautiful and has a good temperament. Upon hearing the claims of the talent show personages, Zhang Hongjian is persuaded to say, "Great morals and talent show personages can work together to win, but not to fail together. If they win, everyone will take credit for their achievements. If they lose, they will break up and disintegrate, and they cannot be aggregated anymore. It is a world of money and power, and it is hard to tell the truth from the truth. You're lonely, man. If there's a problem, who's going to come and save you in time of danger?" Zhang Hongjian admired what she said and regretted it. She politely declined the invitation of the show's talents and just wrote a verb for them and laughed. The family inspector tried the case and reached no conclusions. Zhao bribed his boss with a huge sum of money, and the show guys got arrested on party-ending charges and went after the people who wrote the verbal statements. Zhang Hongjian was afraid and had to flee his hometown. Mr. Zhang fled to Fengxiang, the capital of Shaanxi province, and the money ran out. It was getting dark in the sunset, and he was wandering the wilderness, unable to find a place to stay. Suddenly, I saw a small village nearby, and I rushed over. An old woman was about to come out to close the door, saw Zhang Hongjian and asked him what he wanted to do. Zhang Hongjian told her exactly what he meant. The old woman said, "Eat and sleep. It's all small things. Just no man in the family, so it's not convenient to stay." "I dare not have high hopes either," Zhang said. "If I can stay in the door and avoid the tiger wolf, I will be satisfied." The old lady let him in, closed the door, gave him a bundle of hay, and said, "I pity you for not going anywhere. You'll have to leave early. I'm afraid my girl will blame me if she hears." "We're done." Zhang Hongjian leans against the wall and naps. Suddenly, the lantern glowed, and the old woman let a woman out. Zhang Hongjian sneaks into the shadows and peeks. The girl is a pretty 20-something. The woman comes to the gate, sees the hay, and asks what's going on with the old woman. "She's telling the truth," the woman said angrily. "How can we all be girlfriends to take in men who aren't related?" And immediately asked, "Where is that person?" Terrified, Mr. Zhang emerged from the shadows and knelt on the steps. The woman asked his family name in detail, turning slightly and saying, "Luckily it's a gentleman, so stay here." But how can the old slave not give a report? So it's not enough to entertain a gentleman. I told the old lady to take the guests inside. After a while, the wine was served and the dishes were well cleaned. After the meal, the satin mattress was put into the bed. Zhang Hongjian thanked the girl and asked her surname privately. The old woman said, "My family's name is Shi, and both my grandfather and wife have died, leaving only 3 girls. The one you saw was Shenhua." The old ladies finished talking. Zhang Hongjian saw an annotation of the South China scripture on the table, then took it and put it on the bed head, and leaned over it. All of a sudden, Shenhua pushed the door open and came in. Zhang Hongjian put down his book and looked for his shoes and cap. Shenhua went to bed, pressed him and sat down, and said, "No, no, 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 no. No, I think you're a gentleman and want to entrust your life to you, so you don't avoid suspicion," he says sheepishly, sitting near his bed. "Can you not hate me?" Zhang Hongjian listened, panicked and said, "I can't tell you this. We already have a wife in the family. You can also see your honesty from here, but that's no problem," Mr. Shen said with a laugh. "Since you don't hate it, I'll go get the matchmaker tomorrow." "That's it, we're leaving." Zhang Hongjian leans over to hold her, and she stays. Before dawn, Shenhua got up and gave silver to Zhang Hongjian, saying, "You can use it as a cost of playing. As it gets closer to dark, you should come later and be seen by others." Zhang Hongjian went home early and late, as she said. so after half a year, she became used to it. One day, he came back a little early and was surprised to arrive at the residence, the village house completely gone. Wandering round, I heard the old lady say, "Why did you come back so early today?" Suddenly, the courtyard was standing in the house again. Zhang Hongjian was even more surprised. Shenhua came out of the back room and laughed and said, "Do you doubt me? Tell you the truth. I'm a fox, and I am already married to your predecessor. If you must be strange, please leave immediately." Zhang Hongjian's fascination with her beauty helps him feel at ease. "Since you are a cactus, you should be here for a long journey to catch your breath," Zhang told Shenhua at night. The kid has been away for 3 years and is thinking about his wife and kids. "Can you take me home?" Shenhua listened and said with displeasure, "I thought I had a great affection for you. But you stood by me and thought of her, so it seems that all your affection for me is false." Zhang Hongjian rushed to apologize to her, saying, "How can you say such a thing? The saying goes, 1 day married couple, 100 days of kindness. Later, when I come home to miss you, I will miss her as much as I do today. If I have to get old and new, can you like me?" Shenhua laughs and says, "I'm a bit narrow. For me, I hope you never forget. For others, I hope you must forget her. But if you want to go home for a while, what's the problem? Your home is close by." So he grabbed his coat and left the house. Seeing the dark roads, Zhang Hong was cowering. Soon after, Shenhua pulls him forward, and in a few moments, she says, "Here it is. If you go home, I'll leave." Mr. Zhang pauses to recognize it and sees his home. He jumped into the courtyard and saw that the house was still lit. "I walked up to the house and I banged my 2 fingers on the door. Asked who was it. Mr. Zhang said he had returned. The people in the house opened the door with candles. They met in a surprise, and they held hands and went into the accounts. Zhang Hongjian, who saw his son sleeping in bed, said ruefully, "My son only took a knee when I left, but now he's so big." The couple snuggled up to each other in a trance. Mr. Zhang recounted his entire experience away from home to his wife. Only when asked about the lawsuit did Mr. Zhang become more impressed by his wife's visionary vision. As the show talent had died in prison and had been far from home, Mr. Feng leaned into his arms and said, "You have a beautiful bride. And I don't think you'll ever miss the tears in my empty room again. If you don't miss it, how can you come back? She and I are in love, but she is not human after all. Only her kindness cannot be forgotten." Feng said, "Who do you think I am?" Zhang Hongjian took a closer look, and where is Feng Shi in front of him? How can it be Shenhua? Reaching for my son. It turned out to be a Mrs. Bamboo. Zhang Hong is too ashamed to say anything. And Shenhua says, "I know your heart. It's time to cut our relationship off. Luckily you haven't forgotten the grace, and you can atone more or less." 2 or 3 days later, Shenhua suddenly said, "I want to fall in love with someone else, but I don't mean it. You complain every day that I don't take you home, and today I'm going to Beijing, and I can go with you on the way." So Mrs. Zhu was taken out of bed, and Zhang Hongjian stepped up and told him to close his eyes. Zhang Hongjian felt close to the ground and whispered in his ear. Soon after, Shenhua says, "Let's stop." Zhang Hongjian was about to set a date for her meeting, and Shenhua was long gone. Zhang stood wistfully for a moment, heard the village dog barking, and saw the tree houses, all hometown sites, walking down the road to his house. He jumped into the wall and knocked on the door, just like he did the other time. When Feng was alarmed, he didn't believe his husband would come back, and pressed for confirmation again and again before he whistled the light out the door. When they met, Feng cried so hard that he could not hold his head. Zhang Hongjian suspects that Shenhua is playing tricks on him, and he sees a sleeping child in bed, and laughs. As he did last time, "You brought Madame Bamboo in again." Mr. Fong was baffled and changed his face. "I hope you're back in time," he said. "The tears on your pillow are still there. There's no sadness in seeing each other these days." "What's human?" Mr. Zhang, seeing her sincere, went up and grabbed her arms and choked up, telling his story in detail. The outcome of the lawsuit is exactly what Shenhua said last time. When the couple were feeling each other, they heard footsteps outside the door, and Feng asked who it was, but nobody answered. It turns out there's a young scoundrel in the village who's already seen Fang's beauty. He came back from another village this night, saw a man jump into the Fang's courtyard wall, thought it must have been a personal affair, and followed by a poop. Mr. Jia didn't know Mr. Zhang very well, but was just sitting outside listening to them. When Fang heard footsteps and asked who it was many times, Jia said, "Who is in the house?" Fang's hypothesis is, nobody. Jia said, "I've been eavesdropping for a long time, and this is how we get caught." Fang had to tell the truth. As said, Zhang Hongjian's big case is not over yet. If he comes to his home, he should be bound and sent to the government office. Fang begs him, but her words get worse and worse, and she forces her to agree to be personally involved with him. Angered, Mr. Zhang rushed out the door with a knife and slashed him in the head. A nail fell to the ground, still screaming, and Zhang Hongjian was stabbed several times before he died. "It's already here," Mr. Fang said. "The crime is worse. Run away and let me take the blame." Zhang Hongjian said, "If an older husband should give up, he can't live to insult his wife and his children. You leave me alone. I'll close my eyes as long as I keep my kids in school." After dawn, Mr. Zhang turned himself into the county clerk, Zhao Xianling, as he was a criminal in the case approved by the court, only slightly punished him. Soon after, Zhang Hongjian was escorted from his house to Beijing, and his chains were afflicting him very much on the way. I met a woman riding a horse. An old woman held the horse for her. It turned out to be Shenhua. Mr. Zhang cried out to the old lady for a word, and tears flowed down the sound. "Isn't this my cousin? How did you get here?" Mr. Shen said with surprise, as he dropped his horse and lifted his veil. Mr. Zhang gave a brief account of what had happened, and Mr. Shen said, "If I followed my cousin's previous practice, I should turn around, but I couldn't bear to do so. Not far from here, Humble House invites officials to come along, and you can get more money for your entanglement." Following her on the 23rd mile road, I saw a mountain village with neat lofts. Shenhua went down to the village and told the old woman to open the door and introduce guests. A few moments later, a hearty and delicious meal was served, as if it had been prepared. Shenhua then asked the old woman to come out and say to them, "There happens to be no man in the house, please ask Chang to give him a drink." There are many places where they can be relied upon. They have already sent people to raise dozens of coins to pay the officials and to reward the 2 officials who have not returned yet. The 2 poor men were happy. Then they opened a drink of pain, no longer said to be on the way. It was getting dark, and the 2 bad guys were straight drunk. Shenhua came out and pointed to the shackles on Zhang Hongjian's body, which immediately fell off him. She pulled Zhang Hongjian across the horse and flew like a dragon. Soon after, Shenhua urged him to get off the horse and said, "You will stay here. My sister and I have arranged to go to Qinghai," and stayed for another half day, making her wait for a long time. Zhang Hongjian said, "When will we meet again?" Shenhua didn't answer, and when she asked her again, she shoved Zhang Hongjian into the horse and walked away. After dawn, Mr. Zhang asked where this place was, and it turned out to be in Taiyuan County, Shaanxi Province. So he went to the county, rented a house and taught, and changed his name to Miyako Tsubasa. He lived here for 10 years. It was only after inquiring that the authorities had gradually relaxed their pursuit of him over the years that they slowly headed east again. When he approached the village, he did not dare to rush in, but waited until the night was quiet. Mr. Zhang arrived at the door, and the walls were so high and strong that he could not jump in again, only to knock on the door with a horsewhip. It took her a long time to leave the house and ask who it was. Zhang Hongjian whispered to her. When Fang heard that he was so happy, he hurriedly opened the door and asked him to come in, pretending to be a scolding voice, saying, "If you don't have enough money in Beijing, you should come back early. How can I tell you to come back in the middle of the night?" Inside, the couple talked about their lives over the years before learning that the 2 men had also been on the run and never returned. As they spoke, a young woman kept coming and going outside the curtain, and Mr. Zhang asked her who she was. It was the daughter-in-law, Mr. Fang said. Zhang Hongjian asked, "Where's the son?" Fang said, "I haven't come back yet from my hometown trip. I've been out there for years, and my son is an adult. I didn't expect him to be able to study. "You've run out of blood," Chang said, tears streaming down his ears. Without finishing, "My daughter-in-law has cooked up the wine and filled the table." Zhang Hongjian is overjoyed. He stayed in bed for a few days and was always out of the house, lest anyone else know. One night, the couple had just fallen asleep, overhearing the cries of the outside world and the loud bangs on the door. They're terrified. "Get up together," I heard someone outside say. "Does he have a back door?" Fang is more afraid, rushing to replace the ladder with a door, sending Zhang Hongjian to jump out of the wall in the night color, and then asking what was at the gate. It turned out that he had come home to celebrate his new career. Fang regretted letting Zhang escape, but he couldn't chase after him. Zhang Hongjian ran a series of drills through the bushes of grass that night, so desperate to distinguish the road that by dawn, he was exhausted. At first he wanted to go west and asked people on the road, which was not far from the main road to Beijing, so he went into the village and tried to change his clothes for a meal. There was a tall doorway with a large red note on the wall. He went over and saw that the family name was Su. He was a new student. A few moments later, an elderly man came out of the gate, and Mr. Zhang went up for a salute and explained his intentions. Su Wang knew that he was not a cheater, so he invited him to a family dinner. Su Wang asked him where he was going, and Zhang Hongjian said on holiday. "We set up a school in Beijing and were robbed by bandits on our way home. Huan would leave him to teach his children to study." Zhang Hongjian briefly asked Su Wang's official rank, who was a retiring Beijing official and whose nephew was Shen Qichu. A little over a month later, Su Zhiren came to his home with a member of the list who said he lived in Yangbingfu, surnamed Zhang, an 18-year-old 19-year-old. Zhang Hongjian suspects that he may be his son because his family name and family tree are the same as his own. But he also thinks that there are so many surnames in the county that he can't admit it if he's afraid of being wrong. At the end of the evening, Su Zhiren brings out a book of tooth records, which records the same people and 3 generations, and Zhang Hongjian learns to read it. This book shows that Su Zhiren is his son. Zhang Hongjian looked at the record of teeth and wept. Everyone asked him in amazement what had happened, and he pointed to the name and said, "This is the beginning. And that's me." I gave a detailed account of my experience. Zhang ran up to her father and cried. After the comfort and persuasion of Su's uncle and nephew, Zhang Hongjian and his son turned to happiness. Soon after, Su Wang took out silver and satin and wrote a letter, "Send people to Yushi's place." And Zhang Hongjian and his son came home together. Since Feng got the news from his son, he felt sad for Zhang Hongjian's escape. Suddenly someone said that the new heir returned, and his heart was even sadder. At a short time, Zhang Hongjian and his son came into the house together, and Feng was astonished, believing that his husband had come down from the sky. When asked what had happened, the whole family met with grief and joy. Zhang Hongjian's father treated Zhang Hongjian more kindly and recounted the real situation of the accident. The father was so moved and ashamed that the two families reconciled and became friends.
Alright, this story has come to an end. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you.